Hello everyone, and now we're going to actually go through our documentation here of the ER report, the patient with the upper respiratory infection. We're going to look at what our documentation says, and then I'm going to walk you through how we code this using 3M. So under our history of present illness, our patient's 2.5 months old, right? They've been sick for 3 or 4 days. They have congested sounds, cough, and decreased appetite. No fever, no runny nose, nobody else is sick, no cigarette smoke exposure. Then we look at the physical examination, look at all the areas that the physician examined so we can use that in our evaluation and management code selection. Diagnostic studies, note here that they did a chest x-ray, the physician looked at it, and also the assessment says upper respiratory infection. And then for our treatment or our plan, use the bulb syringe and saline drops if there's any mucus. And they discuss the proper sleeping position and recheck if the patient isn't better. Okay, so let's go into 3M. We're going to be coding, again, the upper respiratory infection was our diagnosis under assessment. And then the procedure is going to be the emergency room evaluation and management code. So once you log into 3M, we're going to do, our patient is age 0. We can't pick 2.5 months, so we can just do 0. If it was closer to 8, 9, 10 months, I would pick 1 year here, so you would put a 1. For our product, since our ER visits, as we learned earlier in the unit, these are part of the APC payment methodology under the Outpatient Prospective Payment System. So we're going to go down to the bottom and hit APC Finder. Then we're going to hit Continue. And there's an error. Okay, let me do this again. APC Finder, Continue. Okay. Now you're going to ask by 3M what our bill type is. So always hit this one, hospital outpatient with no condition code. Now, again, if you know the diagnosis code, if you looked it up in your book, you can enter it here, or we're going to look it up, upper respiratory infection. So I'm going to use the abbreviation and see if anything comes up. There we go, upper respiratory infection. I'm going to select 1. Now it's asking me if it's chronic, influenza, strep, viral. I'm going to pick 5 for other or unspecified because none of that was documented. None of these additional codes were documented, so we're going to hit B, other or unspecified. Now, if you remember specifically in the chart, it did say that the patient was not exposed to tobacco, so we're going to hit 1, do not wish to code. Okay, so there's our diagnosis code. J06.9, and just like last week, we're going to hit Add Procedure to get to our evaluation and management. And in the procedure box, again, if you know the code, if you already looked it up, you can type it here, or I'm going to look it up under Evaluation. So I'm going to hit number 2, and then Evaluation and Management is what we want, so number 1. And we want Other Services, so we're going to hit 4. And we're coding for the ER, right? So we want 6, emergency department. We're not going to code just HCPCS and G codes. We're going to do the CPT code. So we're wanting 1 here. Do the abridged selections just like last week. Now let's look at this question. Did physician or other qualified healthcare professional direct emergency medical systems care or advanced life support? No, we did not. So hit 2. Did emergency department care involve critical care services? Nope. So hit 2. And now our history. So our history was expanded problem focused. Exam also was expanded problem focused, right? Decision making. Now this is where I wanted to point out that our physician also looked at a chest x-ray and looked at the interpretation from the other physician on that chest x-ray. So we're going to put moderate complexity because that takes more into how much medical decision making the physician had to do, right? Looking at data, amount of data to review is part of that medical decision making complexity. So we're going to pick moderate because the x-ray was ordered. Prolonged services, we did not have those, so we're hitting 2. And we're not going to code a temporary code, so hit 1. So there's our E&M. Hopefully, if you guys used your book, that's the same E&M code you came out with. We're going to hit continue. And it brought me an error again. I'm not sure why. So back to that same screen. If you guys wanted to start over, you can, but we went through the codes and hopefully you wrote them both down as we went through, and I hope this was helpful.